Hello everyone, Andrew Guasch with Authentic Dynamics here today. In this quick tutorial, we're going to dive into the Align Content CSS property. We'll explore how it can change the layout of your web page and why it's a key tool for responsive web design. So let's get started. Align Content controls how lines of content are spaced out in a Flexbox or grid container. It's used when there's extra space on the cross-axis and the container has multiple lines of items. The syntax is simple, align-content and then your value. Let's look at the values it can take. As noted, it must be within a Flexbox or grid container. Display flex, flex wrap is set to wrap, and we have align content flex start. We have flex end, center, space between, space around, stretch, and I actually think there's a couple of other technical items like baseline that you can use, but we'll go over the main ones that were standard here. Before diving in, please ensure you're familiar with the basic CSS Flexbox or grid layout concepts, as align content is specifically used within these contexts. So we'll start off with align content, flex start. As noted, we have a 550 pixel box here. All of the items with flex start are at the beginning of the container. We'll switch this to end. I'm sure everybody can guess. They're going to be packed at the very end of the container. Next, we'll do center. Can anybody have a guess where these items are going to be located? If you guessed in the center of the flex box, you were correct, obviously. Now, for these other values, we're going to do space between and space around and stretch. Space between and stretch around and space evenly actually have very similar ways that they work, but there's a very few minute differences at the beginning and the end of the content. So we'll start off with space between. Space between distributes the items evenly. The first item is at the start. The last item is at the end. This leaves equal space between each item, and it's perfect for full width layouts or even spacing. So space between, as we note here, we have the first item here at the top, and it just is spacing these items correctly and evenly throughout their container. We'll do space around. With space around, items are spaced evenly with equal space around them. This means that the space between items is twice as much as the space at the edges. It's great for when you want spacing around all the items, including at the ends. Let's take a look how this looks. You can see how there's space here, space, and space. Now we're going to do space evenly. With space evenly, we have all of the items distributes the space evenly between and around the items. Each item has the same amount of space around it. This creates a very harmonious and balanced distribution of space. And the last one we're going to check out here is stretch. If anybody can take a guess what stretch is going to do, stretch value will stretch all the lines to take up the remaining space in the container. If the items don't fill the container vertically, this setting will stretch them so that they do. This is ideal for filling up extra space in the container without adjusting the size of the items themselves. As we note here, all of these items have stretched themselves vertically to fill the entire container. That's all of that today. I appreciate you guys joining in today. This has been Authentic Dynamics with Andrew Guasch.